Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Scott's Quick Cash Class, and we've got a good one for you too. We're going to talk about tax, and not the kind of tax that you're thinking of. We're talking about the broke tax. And what does that mean, and how can we avoid it, or how do we get out of it? Because we've all been there. So we're going to talk a little bit about how being broke actually costs you more money. Now I know that seems like an oxymoron, like, hey Scott, how can it cost me more money if I'm already broke? Well, we're going to talk about a few things here, and the first thing I want to talk about is when you're already scraping and scratching by and you don't have much money, it seems like things cost so much more. And in fact, it actually does cost more when you're broke than when you're wealthy or better off or financially free. So a couple statistics for you. The average payday loan has an annual percentage rate of 391%. I can't even express to you how crazy that is. Like your typical credit cards, even if it's really high, is like 28, 29%. So this is like 10 times, 12 times more than the highest credit card if you go to a payday loan. So please avoid that. I've done it. I've been there. When I used to live in Vegas, I got a few of those and they just don't go away. So next one, over 30% of low-income Americans pay more for basic goods and services, and that can be, just groceries, your interest on your car loans, insurance. When you're not well off, everything just seems to cost more. So we're going to give you a few actionable items here. Hopefully, some of these can work for you and kind of get you out of that cycle, because really what it's about is getting some of that forward momentum. And it's really hard to get momentum because it just seems like you're grinding and grinding and grinding, but you're not getting anywhere. I felt like that for years, that I was like, hey, I'm doing the right thing. How come I'm not moving forward? And I was doing some of the right things, but I was also doing some of the wrong things. So here are a few actionable items that you guys can do to hopefully get out of that debt cycle and get out of that broke cycle, right? And once you start taking control or feel like you have control of your finances, problems or bills become easier. And also just life in general, situations, life become easier when you feel like you're taking actionable steps. So first thing is open a bank account. And I don't care if it's online, if it's, a brick and mortar building. I like brick and mortar building. I have both, but I like brick and mortar buildings because you always want to have a face that you can go in and talk to and build that rapport with them, because banking and other things are about relationships in life, and having that one-on-one with, whether it be a teller, whether it be a loan officer there, it's very important. And it served me well too. So open a bank, use a budget app, use some sort of device control. We've talked about budgets on here on another podcast episode, but that's one of the first steps of actually controlling your finances, knowing what's going out. So if you want to know about budgets, I got a good episode for you. Click the link down below. And then start an emergency fund. If you don't have an emergency fund, whether it be even $5, start putting away, and then maybe next week put 10, but at least get something started. If you don't have any emergency fund and you put $5 away a week, that's $260 in a year. I know that doesn't seem like a whole lot, but that's enough for, some sort, that's enough for a couple tires. That's maybe enough for an ER visit, for, your copay. There's just a few different things, but it's the habit, right? And I guarantee you, if you started $5 a week right now, you would not be at $5 a week by week 52. You'd be wanting to put in 20, 25, 50, because you're starting to see it grow. And then use your bills to boost your credit. If you're struggling with credit, go to Experian Boost, go to Self Credit Builder, and use your regular bills, like from Netflix or your phone. I know some people are starting to be able to track their rental or their apartment payments. Start getting credit for what you're actually doing and build that credit up, because credit is really important. And then the last thing I have is to help get you some extra cash, maybe boost that emergency fund. And we've talked about side hustles before, but sell a few of the electronics. It's amazing how many electronics we have. I was just going through one of my drawers the other day and I found 3 old iPhones in there. And I thought to myself, how long have these been sitting here? How much can I get for them? You know, what can I do with that money from those iPhones? So they're not doing you any good there. If you have other electronics, get rid of them, sell them. I know there's some different places I've seen, you know, Walmart, they have an electronics kiosk where you can sell back stuff. So there's a lot of different options out there. It's just about taking that first step. And remember, like from the previous episode, people who take action on financial advice are 3 times more successful than people who don't, if they do it within 24 hours. So think about that. All right, so we're gonna leave you with the question of the day, tip of the day. Well, actually, before I get to that, me and the family put together a new puzzle. Looks glorious. Leave a comment below. Tell me if you guys like the picture or if we need to do a different puzzle up there. But we did a puzzle, put it together. Tell us what you think. So, question of the day. What's one invisible broke tax you've paid and it still pisses you off? All right, so I would say for me it was when I got a car, and because I wasn't putting as much down as I should and my credit score is lower, I paid like 10% higher, right? If I would have been able to put down 20% on the car or more, and if I would have had above a 700 credit score, that vehicle would have been so less expensive. You're talking $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 over the course of that loan. So that was one that I did. Fortunately, that car is paid off, and I am an 800 credit score. So it took 10 years to get there, but it was definitely worth it. And then tip of the day: the system punishes you for being broke. You don't have to play by its rules forever. And now that you know that it's rigged, you just have to, you're not going to change the rules, but you can play within the rules of the game and you can master the game. And I am by no means a master of the game, but I definitely see the game a little bit better now, and I see problems coming before they get to me. And that helps me be prepared, because you're always going to have problems. But thank you guys for watching. Remember, every day we're bringing you 5 to 7 minute episodes on different financial topics. Hopefully they'll help you out. They have me. And leave a question or comments down below. And I'm never going to ask you to buy anything or sell anything, just here to help. Till next time.